Alright, people, so I hadn't actually planned on doing a post-fight review for this fight, and I should have really known something like this could happen. You know, Gary Cully gets stopped pretty badly, it has to be said, by Jose Felix in the third round. And, you know, before I talk about the fight, the refereeing in this fight, I mean, Gary Cully, I have spoken with him a couple of times on Instagram and stuff like that. Like, I obviously don't know him personally, but he came across as a very much a cool guy, a very stand-up guy, a very likeable person. So I'm always hoping Gary Cully does well. And I've been, you know, at the start of Gary Cully's career, I wasn't very keen on him. Not as a person, but just he seemed to be slapping a lot. He didn't seem to have really anything to his game. He just seemed big. That was it. But over the years with Pete Taylor, he's really developed and he's really become a better fighter, a much better fighter. You know, a real sharpshooter-like fighter. So I had high hopes for him. When I heard Jose Felix was the opponent, and I thought, oh, well, big punching Mexican, because he's got 40 wins and 31 knockouts now. I was thinking that might not go well, because although Gary Cully is Irish, he's from Naas in Kildare, Ireland and the UK is very similar. In fact, almost identical style-wise. You know, that's taught from the amateurs into the pro games. You know, Pete Taylor, he does a very kind of UK training kind of style, so it's essentially one of the same, really. So I kind of thought, oh, you know how these tend to go, and it went that way. Now, Gary Cully was winning the early rounds in this fight. He was. But I noticed, and Andy Lee picked up on it on commentary, it's something that Cully's always done. And it's caught him out before, and it's a bad habit, and he's still not learned it. It was this fight here against Craig Woodruff was in the summer of 2020. Yeah, summer 2020. He narrowly won that on points. That was a fight where he was having a lot of success, but he was pulling back. And he was pulling back in straight lines with his chin in the air. And he was attacking with his chin in the air. And he got caught with a shot as he was backing up by Craig Woodruff. That dropped him. Wasn't a massively heavy knockdown, so he was able to survive it. But in this fight, he was getting caught a good bit as he was coming in. The shots appeared to not have much on them. But then in the third round, a big left hook came in from Jose Felix, and I mean, you know when you just see a shot and you just see the life drain out of the fighter? That was how it was. Cully hit the deck and his legs were absolutely gone. Absolutely shattered, you know. He was done. Now, he got to his feet, and to be honest with you, I probably would have complained a little bit, but I could have seen from the referee's point of view if he had stopped the fight after the first knockdown. Cully gets up, his legs are absolutely gone, and very smartly he tries to hold on. And that's what he tries to do. He tries to grab on for dear life, hold on to Jose Felix, and just try and see out the round. There was still over a minute to go in this round, so we had a long way to go. Wasn't like the last 10 seconds where you could do that, see the end of the round, Pete Taylor, throw a bit of water on him and he's fine. No, he needed to hold on for dear life, but Jose Felix, I was going to say Felix Diaz there for a sec. Jose Felix, smelling blood, went for it. And it was more of a, yeah, it was a knockdown, but it was more of a fumble kind of, both guys were in a clinch, punches were being thrown all sorts of everywhere, and Cully hit the deck and went down again. Wasn't as heavy, but it didn't need to be because his legs were absolutely gone. And then Cully, again, not making the defensive changes, still just, he's so used to being the taller, rangier guy. He's so used to putting people in their box with his punching power and his arm length that he neglects defense. He does. I mean, chin is just like, do you want it? Go and get it. That's what he's like. He's like that when he backs up. He's like, that chin is just, it's got an open target and it's just asking to be hit. And Jose Felix needed no second invitation, and he hit him again. And I thought Cully was going to go this time. It was another left hook, and Cully, you know when someone's knocked out but they're still standing? A good example would be, do you remember when Terry Harper got knocked out by Alicia Baumgartner? One of my favourite knockouts, couldn't happen to a nicer person. But the referee jumped in instantly and stopped it. It was kind of like that, only the referee didn't stop it. Then the referee just kept letting it go. Gary Cully kept taking shot after shot after shot. Security were up on the apron after Pete Taylor threw a towel in. Referee still wasn't stopping this fight. And security were even telling him the towel's been thrown in, stop the fight. Finally, when Cully took one last shot, and at this stage he didn't know where he was, and it was really dangerous, the position he was in. It reminded me of Tommy Morrison against Ray Mercer. Obviously not as devastating as that, but it reminded me kind of that position where you have one fighter who's lifeless, helpless up against the ropes, and a guy is teeing off on him. Not quite to that extreme, but similar kind of thing. And this referee was just like, I meant to do something, but what? Yeah. No, well, you took a few. You're alright. You're walking off. That's kind of what it was like. Shocking refereeing, and I wonder if it had been the other way around and Gary Cully had hurt Jose Felix the same way, he'd have been jumping in there like that, 100%. So that is Gary Cully taking the first L of his career. It's going to be a difficult one to come back from. I'm not going to lie. That's going to be a difficult loss to come back from. He was making all the right noise. He was talking a good game. Wanting the Maxie Hughes fight, wanting the world title guys next year. Oh, that's going to be a difficult one to come back from. I mean, like, as a yardstick, Sandor Martin fought Jose Felix in his last fight, dealt with him handily. Tyrone McKenna, and I don't rate Tyrone McKenna at all, he beat this guy. That's not a good look when McKenna is garbage. And obviously that was at 140 pounds, but still, that's not a good look for Gary Cully. It's not. I got to be honest. It's not a good look. It's a bit of a beating. He needs to fix those flaws in his defense. They're there. And Pete Taylor has a good boxing eye. He should see that. He really should. If I can see it, surely Pete Taylor can see it. So Gary Cully's going to have to... It's going to be difficult to move on from that. And, the Irish taking all sorts of L's on this card. Not surprised. Most of the fighters on this card are garbage in the grand scheme of things. So Dennis Hogan already lost, and Katie Taylor versus Cameron. Yeah, I think it could be 3-0 by the end of the night for the Irish. And that doesn't surprise me, truth be told. I didn't think Gary Cully would lose, but I never, he's improved, but I didn't think he'd lose this fight until I found out that it was a hard punching Mexican. Then I said, oh, that doesn't bode well. So that's the crack with this fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. People I'll probably talk to you after Loma. Well, I'm not staying up for it, but I'll do a review first thing tomorrow morning after Loma versus Haney. Let me know your thoughts. Peace.